If you are partially at fault in a motorcycle or other vehicle accident, you are still entitled to damages. Motorcycle safety is the responsibility of all drivers on the road, automobiles, trucks, and motorcyclists. The risk of serious injury in an accident is more severe for motorcyclists who don't have the solid body of a car, as well as seatbelts, airbags, and other safety features to protect them in the event of a crash. When you've been injured in a motorcycle accident, the first thing on your mind is recovering from your injuries and repairing your bike. As you begin to understand what it might cost to recover after the crash, you may begin to wonder if you can still collect damages for the costs and injuries you suffered if you were partially at fault in the motorcycle accident. The good news is that the answer may be yes. You might be able to get compensation for what you've gone through and the bills that have to be paid, even if you were partly to blame in causing the crash. But it depends on some key issues that have to be answered first. Oklahoma laws follow what is called modified comparative fault for all personal injury accidents, including motorcycle crashes. In simple terms, modified comparative fault means that someone who is partially responsible for causing the crash can still recover monetary damages for their losses, so long as their fault is less than the other drivers in the crash. So, it's possible that you can recover damages for injuries and expenses caused by the accident, even if you were partially responsible for causing the crash. In any personal injury claim, the person who is trying to get compensation for their injuries must prove that the other person was negligent. There are 4 elements to proving legal negligence, which include showing that someone had a duty of care, breached their duty of care, caused damages, injured someone. Injuries can include physical or emotional suffering that results from the crash, as well as property damage to the cars involved. Oklahoma law follows a rule called modified comparative fault, meaning that someone who contributed to or was partly at fault in causing a crash can only get monetary damages for their injuries if they were less than 51% at fault. In other words, so long as your percentage of blame for the cause of the crash is less than the other drivers involved, you can be compensated for your injuries. So if you were found to be 30% responsible for the motorcycle crash, you can still recover damages, including medical treatment for the other portion of fault, 70% in that case. So if your total injuries were valued at $10,000, you could recover $7,000. Because of the rule of modified comparative fault in Oklahoma, it is critical after a motorcycle crash to be able to prove that the other driver in the accident was more at fault in causing it than you were. If you've been involved in a motorcycle accident, it is crucial to have a police report to help establish what happened. Police are trained in assessing the crash to determine what happened and making a report that can be used to help prove the facts of the case.